Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this tournament showdown. It's going to be myself and the Sons of Sigmar facing off against a Skaven who shall be helmed by Dustman. It is going to be a Grace here versus Boris Todbringer. Always a fun matchup. This one's just wild. There's tons of units. You got the Mantide versus Vermintide, State Troopers versus Clan Rats, Heavy Cavalry, Weapons teams, everything that you could hope and dream for. Now, as far as my build goes, front line is going to be State Troopers. And my favorite State Trooper in this matchup probably is the Spearman with the shield. These guys are good enough and very stalwart with 42 melee defense to fight against pretty much any of the Clan Rat variants, and they're also good against Rat Ogres, which are extremely common in this matchup. So that's why I do favor them over the Swordsmen. And for a little bit more kind of crowd clearing capabilities, I'd like to bring one Flagellant and the Sigmar Sons as well. So Flagellants can definitely take Clan Rats to the club and are unbreakable, so give you a little bit of staying power on points. And Sigmar Sons are just a great unit. 41 for combat stats. They're quite good. In the backfield to deal with the Rat Ogres, because Rat Ogres are kind of, if you're going through the rock, paper, scissors of this matchup, Rat Ogres are what counter your Heavy Cavalry, so I have the Huntsmen there to deal with those. So it's going to be triple Huntsmen in the back, and worst case, they can shoot Plague Monks and Slingers, and they're also in loose formation, so they're going to get punished a little bit less by the impact of some of the weapons teams. On top of that, this is my special fancy secret tech, and I don't know, this one you can probably cut or mix around, but I do like to have one Mortar Wagon. The Mortar Wagon can move around, target high value targets, and over the course of a game, it does draw a bit of aggro, which is good because it's like a distraction, and yeah, I think it's nice to have a mortar that can't really be shut down easily. Boris Todbringer is hands down the best pick in this matchup. If you guys are aspiring Sigmarite players, Boris Todbringer is amazing because of a couple of reasons. Firstly, he heals passively in combat, so if you bring Franz is going to be hitting harder and a little bit more impactful in combat, but Boris Todbringer passively heals, so you don't have to bring a Life Wizard to kind of watch him. And on top of that, he has a leadership debuff. So Crush the Weak is -4, and we do also have Blood Roar, which is -8. So he's going to be potentially doing -12 leadership and breaking, terror routing them because he's on a giant griffin, right? So that's going to be my army, and now for my opponents here on the other side, it is going to be Dustman with his dreaded Skaven Legion. He does have Skaven Slaves in the front. Plague Monk's been making a bit of a comeback these days, and they're pretty good. Honestly, if they have to fight State Troopers, they'll annihilate them in combat. 38, 33, and 35, great combat stats. Physical resistance, I believe, 15%, yeah, so it's pretty darn good. And as long as they're not being shot or run over by Heavy Cavalry and they're fighting State Troopers, they're going to do quite well. We got Slingers into the sunset, and Slinger spam is very nice. They do okay pebbling damage against light armor, which is a lot of the Empire infantry roster. And his one weapon team is going to be the Natty Buboes. So these are probably, I'm trying to think of all the weapons teams. This one probably sees the most play in both land battle as well as domination, although the big heavy mortars, the avalanche mortars, can be disgustingly powerful. But against the Empire, typically, you don't really have super valuable infantry for it to bombard. But, yeah, I don't know. I think that the Natty Buboes are probably one of the better weapons teams. Also, you can bring the Rattling Gunner RORs in this matchup, the Teethbreakers. You get those bad boys invisible, you creep up, and, it can keep Boris Todbringer honest as well. Skaven certainly have some tricksy traps that they can employ. So we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding here on Borderlow Landing as the Jezzails immediately open up and big damage on my mortar wagons, taking down about 30% of their HP right there. Now shooting at Boris Todbringer, so I will be reacting to that, moving out of the way. While the Skaven Slave Slingers and the old Clan Rat Spears going to be grabbing Objective 1, I will be getting the initial grab on the middle and the side objective, going to be sending a single Spearman over to the side point. His dreaded 66 leadership ready to hold out against the Vermintide. No back cap pressure. Sometimes Skaven will do that. You'll see a couple Clan Rats run through the trees and try and disrupt your back objective, but that is not going to be the case here today. So points have opened up. And with the Empire on this map, I really like to use my mobility to pressure the back objective. I think it's very good against Skaven, who aren't quite as dynamic in terms of their mobility. So the play, here's what you do. You call out your grenade launchers, you send them in against the spears. Your opponent immediately is going to be calling out Wolf Rats, because that's their answer against grenade launchers. And then you just have some Empire Knights waiting in the bushes, which will crush the Wolf Rats. It's a kind of a fun little gambit you can employ here. So Clan Rats getting obliterated by grenades. We do manage to take out, wow, 25 of them with one grenade volley. A couple more there as well. So these guys are going to be shaken. They're going to be running for the hills, and Boris Todbringer and some Flagellants going to be coming here as well, and going for a very greedy triple cap. You know, he's playing the dreaded RTK sitback style here, so we're going to be moving in and trying to punish that a little bit by getting a triple cap out of the gates, and Boris Todbringer will help route as well. Grenade launchers have come in. Will they get another volley? Find out on today's episode as the Wolf Rats are called in, so pretty standard stuff here, and also Skaven Slave Slingers are a good counter against the grenade launchers. So we get Boris Todbringer, he charges in, immediately tanks the leadership of these Wolf Rats. They might actually just break because of him, honestly, but the Empire Knight's going to be coming out of the tree line, surging. Lances couched for Sigmar, but the Lances get blue-balled a little bit because they do just get terror routed, but it's okay. You know, we might be able to just chase them. They're actually, truly broken, so they could just run off the edge of the battlefield. We'll have to see. I decided to chase them a little bit with the grenade launchers, try and keep them running. Meanwhile, the Slinger is going to get obliterated, and this objective could be flipping to us, but the Skaven are going to be rolling up with the Rat Ogres, as well as the Skaven Slave Spears, and the Natty Bubo Sharpshooters are coming in to provide a little bit of crossfire as well. But overall, good value for us. He's ahead a little bit on value because of the damage he's done to Boris, but if we could just flip the objective here, that's going to be quite big. He might get there in time. Is he going to? He is not. So that will give us a triple cap for a period of time. And this is like the Flagellant's power fantasy, right? If they could just stand and die somewhere for Sigmar, that's what it's all about. They're basically like the Empire equivalent of Slayers. But yeah, Flagellants will be able to turn around and do some Mortal Kombat versus these Skaven Slaves and the Skaven Slave support here, which is going to be the Rat Ogres. And we'll hold on for as long as we can. So grenades coming in. Empire Knights did chase down those Clan Rat Spears and Wolf Rats. So that doesn't track in the value, right? We did route off a Wolf Rat unit as well as another Chaff unit, I believe a Clan Rat, so that's a lot of value that isn't included on the little meter here. And we do get some Huntsmen in position as well, providing a little bit of support while the grenade launcher is shooting into the massed infantry. Skaven Slaves just get absolutely karate chopped, but unfortunately the Jezzails were able to get in position and do get some nice firepower into my grenades, forcing them back. And this is a really bad fight for me. We do not want Empire Heavy Cavalry to be fighting Rat Ogres. That's pretty terrible. With the Boris Todbringer nearby, it could lead to a terror route, so that's what we're going to be trying to play. Over in the middle, the Vermintide is going to be moving up, and my Huntsmen do stand at the ready. And for the call-in, we got the Mortar Wagon back here still shooting, and I believe, yeah, just calling in more grenade launchers. They're incredibly good against Skaven, right? So here in the woods, we get a good fight. Empire Knights do lose to Rat Ogres head-to-head, and it's a pretty decisive loss if it's sustained combat without charges. But Boris Todbringer with -12 leadership on these rats, it's going to be punishing them pretty hard. It will mitigate their frenzy efficiency. You can see one terror route already going down. These Rat Ogres are going to be running for the trees, potentially going to be able to get the break on them. We'll have to see with the Blood Roar and Crush the Weak, and the other Ogres are going to be retreating back. So the Empire Knights do surge after the Rat Ogres, but unfortunately they do rally, so could be a bit of a dodgy engagement for me. Spearmen, though, do make it to the objective, and the middle is now going to be swarmed by the rats. And Skaven do have a ton of capture weight via Clan Rats, so we could be in some danger here. My grenade launcher is trying to get in position here to shoot at the advancing Plague Monks, but they do turn about face. Nice stream of corruption right there on my Huntsman, but the grenade saturating into these filthy Plague Monks. And that's one way to get rid of disease is fire, right? And explosives and whatnot. So we are going to be shooting into the rats. Only lose a couple models, and they do get my Huntsman that overextended a little bit deeply. So this is where I could potentially be punished by Dustman for overextending into his lands and kind of splitting my army up rather than having a focalized engagement. Burning Heads, though, very, very good. We get a fat Burning Head right there on the Plague Monks, that unit of Skaven Slaves, and also goes through the Plague Monks on the far side, absolutely eviscerating those units, calling in the Zentler's Reichsguard to hunt down the Plague Monks here, so they're going to be turning about face to fight them. And my two Huntsmen are still in good shape, but the overwhelming Vermintide was able to get their clutches on the middle objective, but the Empire Heavy Cavalry on all fronts, trying to fight back where they can, and it looks like there is going to be a Clan Rat summon here. Not a bad idea. Will certainly help tar pit the Zentler's Reichsguard and some of my other units, but trying to get my grenade launchers back. The back objective we have held onto for quite some time. We still have some Spearmen holding there. Flagellants, only 4 of them left, so not really going to be too much of a player at this point. So I've kind of, conceded the fact that I've lost that back objective, right? Boris Todbringer has taken a little bit of damage, and he is healing, so the value difference is a little bit closer than it looks. Boris Todbringer trying to bully this Grey Seer and getting some okay damage on it. The Grey Seers do have 100 armor, actually, but Toddy's mostly AP, but even still, high armor will help. And yeah, they're very tanky. They're kind of like the Skaven Slan in that they're deceivingly tanky and hard to kill, even though it just looks like a rat riding on a big wooden contraption. Like Grom the Paunch, for example. Remember the days of Grom the Paunch and land battle? Those were some times. So Burning Head going down, cooking some of the Clan Rats and Skaven Slave Spears once again. Burning Head is, in my opinion, the best lore magic against Skaven. They just have so many light armored troopers, but now we see the truly forbidden tech, which is kind of good against Burning Head, which is going to be Storm Vermin. So Storm Vermin have arrived, and they're going to be eating some shots, and they will defeat State Troopers quite handedly in combat. And I didn't bring any great swords or much armor piercing at all, so I'm going to have to rely on just sheer attrition and grenades and different things like that to deal with these. So my 2 Huntsman units ripping volleys, grenades going to be coming into the rats as well. And their leadership is fickle, right? But the Unholy Clamor, look at that. So that salvages their leadership a little bit, and that is the ability on the Grey Seer. Zentler's Reichsguard moving into these Skaven Slave Slingers, and now we are going to be forced back. So the Skaven definitely brute forcing their way on these objectives. My Huntsman going to be in retreat here, grenade launchers pulling back, and the Storm Vermin, even though they're not going to do a lot of damage, have at least forced me off the objective to an extent. Boris Todbringer still causing a little bit of havoc, and in the backfield, my Empire Knights did chase down the Jezzail, so we were able to catch the Natty Bubos, bringing them pretty close to shattering here. They might actually shatter, but that was pretty good because those things were doing a ton of damage against me. Zentler's Reichsguard still hamming it up. Might unfortunately get caught in some of these Clan Rat spears. They were rampaging across my opponent's backfield, but yeah, the spears are going to be a big issue for them. Over here, Boris Todbringer and the Empire Knights probably going to be able to deal with Storm Vermin. They're still Skaven, you know, their leadership is a little bit higher than the Clan Rat, but they're still going to get terror routed, and that's a lot of stuff, right? Sigmar's Sons, we got Spearmen, we got Boris Todbringer on his Griffin. It's very scary. So that does salvage the backfield. So now our shooting is going to be back online. Granted, the Skaven are kind of closing the old value gap, not value gap, but the old point gap. We did retake the value lead by crushing those Storm Vermin there and rerouting our grenade launchers, and now Free Company Militia are going to be moving up. Free Company, I think, are one of your best reinforcement units you have as the Empire in this matchup. The fact that they have pistols to shoot at any ogres or big threats, and their combat stats are good enough to fight a Clan Rat makes them an ideal choice in my opinion. But Zentler's Reichsguard were able to get away from the spears, and now we're just trying to run over whatever Skaven we can. Skaven calling in Rat Ogres and trying to reinforce around the Grey Seer. Don't want to get Boris Todbringer caught, but Boris is a raid boss. He's really, really tough to kill. I mean, his stats aren't like insane, and his HP is kind of mediocre as well. I believe he's got 300 or 400 less HP than Karl Franz. Franz, I think, sits at 5,800. Toddy's like 55. But Toddy's leadership and his passive healing essentially gives him way more functional HP than Karl Franz. So, big burning head going down. Once again, going to be cooking some old Skaven. So there we go. Value is very much dead even. This is a great game. Very, very close. The back objective, we have a little bit of scrapping back here. I got some state troopers duking it out, and they're doing all right. Also, some more state troopers going for pressure on that back objective, but I don't think that's going to be a win for us. Meanwhile, in the backfield, we do call in the Sunmaker, so here comes the Sun, and it is going to be shooting into the advancing Skaven units. Sunmaker is pretty good against Skaven. It's sometimes, if they don't have like Plague Monks or good value targets and you end up shooting into trash units, it can feel pretty bad. You also have to be very careful not to shoot it near your own troopers, because the amount of friendly fire damage the Sunmaker can do is truly disgusting. So Empire Knights surging into the Rat Ogres here. Tough fight for them, but they do have the backing of the Huntsman. So the Huntsman will hopefully come across, get some nice master marksman shots into the Rat Ogres. Rat Ogres starting to take some substantial casualties, but more Rat Ogres have gotten into the secondary. And I'm starting to notice I don't really have a whole lot on the objective. I do have some Free Company Militia fighting here. A couple of Free Company Militia. Unfortunately, I had to allocate them to try and chase off these Wolf Rats because it was threatening the Sunmaker. But now the Sunmaker is back online, and I'm hoping it's going to be able to get me a value lead here and knock some of these Skaven off the objective. So here comes a shot, and does some respectable damage. Almost in some ways against Skaven. Maybe the Sunmaker's overkill. Going for a basic Hellstorm rocket battery might be fine, because Sunmaker you're paying for like really just heavy stopping power against like elite infantry. But against Skaven, I think maybe the cheaper variant could be the way. Unfortunately, once again, man, Dustman is a really good Skaven player. I'm super practiced on this matchup. I played it 1,000 times in both land battle as well as domination mode, and man, oh man, he was pressing me really hard, and I kind of felt like at this point the game was slipping away a little bit. Like, I'm getting pushed back. There's tons of rats on the objectives. Very, very dodgy stuff. My Huntsmen have been caught in melee. The Zentler's Reichsguard, though, absolute chads. 43-39 for combat stats. They get into combat. They start to punch through these Rat Ogres, so maybe they'll be able to salvage it. And I do have a lot of, punishing salvos that can do great work against the Clan Rats. He does attempt to dive my artillery, but that's why we have these Spearmen guarding. So these Spearmen able to fend off the Wolf Rats, and State Troopers will defeat Wolf Rats. Going to take a little bit of damage in the process. These foul Rat Beasts will do okay, but overall that's going to be a big win for my Spearmen. So now we got to deal with these big bricks, right? And for Skaven, Skaven can go from feeling like they're winning and just absolutely dominating you to mass routes and, oh my god, what the hell is happening in this game? So that is kind of what I'm banking on. On the back objective, he does attempt a ninja, but I do call out grenade launchers, which should be able to deal with the remnants of the Storm Vermin, and also some State Troopers with spears do get back here. So I think this back objective is going to be relatively safe. But if he had triple cap me there, that would have been very, very bad. Up in the front, Free Company Militia have engaged versus the Clan Rats. Certainly time for a burning head if I do have one in the books. Zentler's Reichsguard have been great this game. 245 kills, but only 900 value, which is pretty classic. Unsummoning the Mortar Wagon to get it back in the pool and maybe call it back out. And now it's time for some sweet, sweet burning heads if I do have the Winds of Magic. Couple Free Company Militia trying to get to some cover here, but are going to be caught by some Wolf Rats, so not going to be a good fight for me. Those Spearmen still fighting on the back objective, which is pretty insane. Skaven doing a little bit of housekeeping, unsummoning some units. I don't know why he unsummoned the Skaven slaves. It was a little bit strange. It must have been a misclick, but it's just a Skaven slave, so who cares? Ain't a big deal. Boris Todbringer trying to, support the Zentler's Reichsguard as well as the Burning Headcaster, but the Clan Rats able to push me back quite well, and he is now eclipsing me, not eclipsing, but he's approaching my score, while still also trying to press the back objective. But the Spearmen of Sigmar are not messing around. They're doing very, very good. Grenade launchers do get chased a little bit, and I do have some more reinforcing cavalry here, so the back objective should be more or less safe for us. Sunmaker is still making it rain, and we've just been kind of nuking the Plague Monks, so all these volleys have been pretty cost effective. As far as ammo, it's not much left here, but if we can get rid of the good quality troopers that have high capture weight, it's going to make hitting on the objective much easier. Some friendly fire, not friendly fire, but also collateral damage going into the Grey Seer. Pre-company militia trying to rip pistol shots where they can. Burning Head going to be going down the flank of this clan rat unit, but the Unholy Clamor has been really good this game, keeping those old rats fighting. But now we start to get a little bit of cap weight back on the objective. 8.6 against 9.3, so the value is close. But Boris Todbringer has healed more than enough to kind of get around that value difference. You know, he himself is over 2,000 gold, and he's healed for a lot of HP. So I don't really feel like I'm behind in value at all at this point. As far as the back objective goes, it is going to be stabilized by the Zintler's Reichsguard, the elite of Karl Franz being sent to battle, and they're going to move in and help to defeat these clan rats. And even though these are spear rats, their state troopers in front of them buffering the knights, making sure they're not going to be targeted. These Skaven slaves are going to get dragged down right here. Ogres once again moving in. They do get a nice swarm. My grenade launchers had no idea what I was doing with these. I think I thought they were Empire Knights, and I tried to charge them in, and it didn't go so well. Rats holding on to the point and doing a little bit of housekeeping, a few unsummons here and there. I certainly need to do some housekeeping myself. But his lord is very, very low, and I know the points are getting close, but if I can get in and take out his lord with Boris Todbringer, that's going to be a big problem for the old rats. And unfortunately, I didn't get my unsummon off with the mortar wagon. A couple ogres moving into the secondary. The Sunmaker is now out of ammo, so it is going to be unsummoned. We have a big wave of reinforcements coming in, including Sigmar Sons. So this is crunch time. I got to get in there, got to get some good state troopers in, some spearmen, and get that objective back. It's now or never here. So Huntsman shooting across into the Rat Ogres, and once again, Zintler's Reichsguard going to be earning every single penny that I paid for them, as they are going to be couching their lances, getting in there, and right into the Rat Ogres. That's going to be a big impact. Those Ogres are probably going to get melted. Zintler's Reichsguard have a charge bonus of 62 and excellent combat stats, so I suspect the Ogres will lose that fight if my Reichsguard end up staying up in combat there. So another Burning Head going down on the Clan Rats and Clan Rats here, which is quite good, and this is the time of heroes. This is the time of Sigmar. The old world will endure. We've got a lot of Empire Cav running about, running over Plague Monk wherever they can, and now we're getting a good concave of fire. We have Huntsmen coming in, grenade launchers are going to be rallying. Boris Todbringer flying in with his Rune Fang, and hopefully going to be doing some battle against the old Greyseer here. Greyseer swinging on that bell, cackling. I love the animations on the Greyseer. It's pretty great for sure. But Boris Todbringer does get a lot of damage. He's at 1,400. His leadership is at 27, despite being in a very, very precarious situation. Now the Mantide is going to be resurging as the Empire Knights do move up. But he reinforces with Storm Vermin. The Skaven are looking to hold this point and try and get the dub. And yeah, it's kind of looking like they might have a decent chance at it right now. 1182 against 1156, very, very close. Huntsman still ripping shots where they can. And the Sigmar Sons and Flagellants all going to be on their way up, and more Spearmen. So I have a lot of good quality capture weight coming here, and also my heavy cavalry are very tough to remove. The Empire might not have the damage output of like Kislev or Bretonnia, but they do have really good armor on their cavalry. Very, very barded, right? Like Winged Lancers for the 800. Even though Winged Lancers are a far superior unit because of the new buff they just got, the Heroic Charge, the Empire Cavalry will last longer in sustained combat than the Kislev Cavalry. Now on the backside, we're chasing down the Filthy Rat, and we do get a bit of a good goon on him. Boris Todbringer probably going to be taking this bell down. He does do one nice attack, and down goes the Greyseer. The leadership of the Skaven army is going to be very fickle. Granted, I don't think it matters too much. We have so much capture weight coming. We got Sigmar Sons and Flagellants, and the Skaven are looking very bare bones on the middle suddenly. We got one unit of Storm Vermin, Clan Rats, and Skaven Slaves. My Empire Knights will clear these off. And I have 3 or 4 good quality infantry units. I got grenade launchers, which are just teeing off into these bad boys. And now Toddy's going to be coming back and putting a lot of hurt onto this middle position. So we do manage to get objective 2, the back point being threatened a little bit. He had a little bit of a sneaky grab here. But overall, going to be sending in the Huntsman as well as the Spears. Should be enough to deal with that. Empire Knight's going to be rear charging in, and we are going to be salvaging our back objective. And at this point, the Skaven basically have no chance. I don't think they're going to be able to get any pressure on the objective here. With the influx of the state troopers here, I was feeling very, very confident. I felt so confident, as a matter of fact, that I was going to be sending the Sigmar Sons to his back point to ninja that. But I kind of realized, I'm like, let's not take any unnecessary risks and risk getting kind of blob capped here. Let's pull our troopers back to this point and just cackle. And Grenade Launcher's doing great work. He tries to move past with some of his Skaven Slaves to get on top of my missiles here. But the concentrated fire of the Huntsman, as well as the Grenade Launchers, really ripping into the hides of the Skaven here. And that is pretty much going to be it, because now Toddy's in here. We got Empire Knights coming in for the flank. You can see the capture weight is heavily in our favor. Back point is under no danger. And that is going to be GG well played. Boris Todbringer with the steel chair, baby. Getting it done, and Sigmar still got it, man. Empire feels like a pretty good faction in the meta. They do have a couple hard matchups, of course, like Kislev is a hard counter, but Kislev hard counters everyone, so that doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, they feel pretty good, man. They feel pretty good. Dwarves and Cathay are really difficult for Empire, like really, really difficult. Aside from that, like I feel like there's not too many bad ones. Yeah, Dwarves and Cathay suck. But yeah, aside from that, they do good. So if you guys are looking to put some time into a faction, I highly recommend the Empire. Very fun, hard to play, but very fun. So Huntsmen are a good tech. I think you need them. 3 might be a little bit much in the opening army, but I think they're good. State Troopers did fine. Mortar Wagon, it held. It used all its ammo, which was nice. Sigmar Sons did it, and the Burning Headcaster are always very good. When you play Skaven, nothing really gets a lot of value. Zantler's Reiksguard actually got a ton. 356 kills, and look at that, 22 on those Empire Knights. Grenade launchers are nice. Sunmaker didn't quite pay for itself, and it makes me think maybe just like a cheaper one, and then you get a little bit more, oomph in your army. That was a close game. It was very dodgy. That was a tournament match, and I thought during the match I was going to lose it at several points. I felt like a little bit overwhelmed, but with the Empire versus Skaven, you just kind of have to endure and wear them down and get those terror routes in the late game and that like just mass leadership punishment. You can do it. Yeah, Gracier was good. Plague Monks, I'm curious about how they did. Yeah, they didn't do too hot. I mean, they can do well in that matchup, but they certainly suffered. No Plague Claw catapults coming in. Storm Vermin managed to get 800 value. That's not bad. I don't know if they got summoned twice, but if they didn't, that's pretty good. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time, and that's going to be it for today.